This is the San Francisco 49ers Report. I'm Chase Sr. Regardless of where you are or how you're tuned in, thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Coming up, 49ers trade targets that make sense given the Niners' needs going into Tuesday's NFL trade deadline. And when you think about the Niners' major needs, Nick Bosa needs some help. He leads the NFL in pressures this year. He is playing at an all-pro level, playing as good as he played when he was the Defensive Player of the Year back in 2022. Other than him, Leonard Floyd, he's been up and down. The depth behind Leonard Floyd, not that great. Malik Collins, a good player, not a great player. You're without Javon Hargrave, who is a very good pass-rushing defensive tackle. So you are lacking talent in general with your pass rush and depth. At defensive tackle, you really don't have a lot of depth. Kevin Givens, he is what he is, a roster bubble type of guy. Kalia Davis, he's had some moments, but he's been injured a lot. And so when you think about these needs, we flip the page to players who make sense for San Francisco, given their needs and other teams who can make these players available. Azeez Ojulari, edge rusher from the New York Giants. Davon Godchaux of the New England Patriots, a run-stuffing defensive tackle who we've talked about here on the show. Za'Darius Smith, older edge rusher for the Cleveland Browns. That would be a win-now move, short window move. Jadeveon Clowney, same applies with what I said with Za'Darius Smith, clearly past his prime, but still impactful. And then there's Preston Smith, who isn't really playing a lot for the Green Bay Packers and their much-improved defense. My top player who I want San Francisco to trade for, and this is addressing a need, this is a cost-controlled asset, this is a player who could be a part of their future, and a player who I would love on the other side of Nick Bosa, is Azeez Ojulari. He helps you with your Super Bowl window, and he can be that player who can help you as you project forward as well. He is only 24 years old. He is an edge rusher who's 6'3", 240, so a little bit smaller, a little bit leaner, but in that build of Leonard Floyd, and he plays a little bit like Leonard Floyd. Twitch, speed, fast first step, bend coming off the edge. He has some pedigree, a 2021 second-round pick out at Georgia. He's in the final year of his contract. If you need to move on, you can. If you want to retain him, I don't think he's going to break the bank. And he's a really good pass rusher who sometimes, because of his lack of size, can struggle in setting the edge against the run and struggle against the run in general, even though this year his PFF numbers against the run are pretty good. As for the cost, $2.1 million cap hit this year. A base salary of $1.5 million. That's peanuts. The Niners have $54 million in cap space right now, according to Over the Cap. That's the most among all teams in the National Football League. As far as his production, obviously that's important. He's played 8 games this year. He has 6 sacks already. That is top 10 in the NFL. He has 7 quarterback hits. So a little bit boomer bust. When he gets to the quarterback, he gets to the quarterback. 7 TFLs. That's why his grades against the run have been pretty good as compared to previous years, and 1 forced fumble. The last 3 games, though, he's really turned it on. And he's been very impressive when you turn on the tape and you watch some of those Giants highlights. And that has coincided with Kayvon Thibodeau being out the last few weeks. He had to undergo like a hand or a wrist surgery. And so Ojulari, who wasn't playing a lot to start the year, is playing a lot more now, and he's been producing. And this Giants team, they're not going anywhere. They're not good enough on offense. They're not good enough at the quarterback position. And I think they're going to be drafting inside the top 10 when all is said and done. Could they use a draft pick in order to build up their team for the future? That's why they could move off of Azeez Ojulari. His Pro Football Focus numbers, again, a little bit boomer bust for the player, but Chris Kocurek is one of the top defensive line coaches in the NFL, if not the best, and we've seen him maximize defensive linemen. Overall PFF grade, 59.8. Pass rush grade, 57.5. Pretty good run defense grade at 62.1. But look, on 141 pass rushing snaps, he's made the most of it. He has 19 pressures and 6 sacks. And I think that Ojulari and Leonard Floyd would give the Niners 2 very similar players and 2 speed rushers opposite of Nick Bosa. You're expected to get Yetur Gross-Matos back. He's more of that physical, bigger type of defensive end who can also play defensive tackle, and I think that this move could really help out San Francisco. Let's ask you this. What say you? What is the Niners' biggest need at the NFL trade deadline? Sound off with what you think. I always want you to share your thoughts because on this show, you always have a voice, so let it be heard. Our sponsor for today's program, Game Time. The only app that I use in a crowded ticketing marketplace. Best seats at the lowest price guaranteed. They specialize in last-minute tickets because the more that you wait until the start of the event, especially if you're a busy guy like me, the more that prices drop. They have ticket insurance. They have flash deals. You can see the view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. And that is something that is not on all other ticketing apps. I want to see, when I go to the stadium, what will I be seeing for the price point? And also, if you toggle the all-in pricing feature, you will not get hit with surprise fees at checkout. How often does that happen with all of these other apps? Thanks to Game Time Picks, you can find tickets to a Niners game and all types of sporting events, NHL, college football, Major League Baseball, NBA, but also you can go to concerts, comedy shows, and theater events. Niners Bucks coming out of the bye. If you live in Florida, you want to go to that game in Tampa, or you're looking to get some sunshine if you live in a cold climate right now with fall in full swing, head on down there to Florida. Plenty of tickets available, and make sure you use the Game Time app. So download the app, create an account, use the code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS. Terms apply. First purchase only. You get $20 off. What time is it? Game time. So you circle back to the players who I think make sense for San Francisco. Azeez Ojulari, Davon Godchaux, Za'Darius Smith, Jadeveon Clowney, Preston Smith. All different players who could help out this squad. For Godchaux, we talked about him here on the show. He's going to be 30 years old on November 1st. 6'3", 330, a classic girthy, run-stuffing defensive tackle. He played his college football at LSU, 2017 fifth-round pick of the Dolphins. He was there throughout the duration of his rookie contract, and then with the New England Patriots over the last couple of years, he is number one in the NFL at defensive tackle in run defense snaps. And then you also look at some of the Pro Football Focus grades. It's been a little bit up and down, but on a better defense, I do think that he would fare a little bit better. $4 million in guaranteed salary for 2025. That's really not a lot when it comes down to it. Za'Darius Smith, throughout the course of his career, he has been one of the more productive pass rushers in the game. If you just think about sack totals, he's played for the Baltimore Ravens. He's played for the Minnesota Vikings, now playing for the Cleveland Browns, and he's produced at every stop, and he's played for some really good defensive minds. And I imagine he'd really crave the opportunity to play for San Francisco. He's not going to be a player like Azeez Ojulari, who has twitch and bend, who's going to be that freaky, lean bean athlete, right? But he's more of a physical defensive end who can win with a bull rush. He has some pass rushing moves and would be a good complement on the opposite side of Nick Bosa. Jadeveon Clowney, huge name throughout his career, up and down numbers. His last 4 years, as evidenced, right? 9 sacks in 2021 with 19 quarterback hits with Cleveland, 11 TFLs. The following year, 2 sacks. Then he goes to Baltimore last year. 9.5 sacks, 19 quarterback hits, 9 TFLs, 2 forced fumbles. He's from the Carolinas. He signs with the Carolina Panthers. He's playing on the worst team in the NFL in 6 games, 1 sack, 2 quarterback hits, 3 TFLs, 0 forced fumbles. When he made that huge hit against Michigan, when he was playing at South Carolina, everybody thought he was going to be a Hall of Famer. He'll never be a Hall of Famer. He's been a very good player, not a great player. And this would be a stretch run type of move for San Francisco where I don't really think they envision him as being a part of the future. Preston Smith. The Green Bay Packers have been really bad defensively over the last few years. This year, they're much better. Jeff Hafley is their new defensive coordinator. He comes over from Boston College where he was the head coach. Bill O'Brien, former Texans coach and offensive coordinator for the New England Patriots, is now their head coach. So That's been an interesting development as far as if you're a college football fan and NFL fan. And Preston Smith, 6'5", 265, played his college football at Mississippi State. He's been a successful player in the NFL. He does have 2.5 sacks, but his playing time is down. I highly doubt that Green Bay would give an NFC contender like San Francisco, who they haven't been able to beat in the playoffs, a player like this who can help them, but it is a player who could be on the trade block. Be sure to give me a follow on social media at Chase_Senior. Really appreciate your support on this platform. I appreciate the support on those platforms as well. I never stop talking ball. So if you like me, stay in the know with all things Niners every day, year round.